What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Jacked Ramsays, a Monday night at, what do we got here? I'm losing track of my time. My watch not telling. My face of my watch is changing. Unbelievable. It's 4:20. There you go. It's 4:20 on 10:20. And, yeah, we're here, folks. I still can't fully believe it that the summer is over. We are in the fall. I am a year older, and the season's here. This is year 14 of me covering the team in one capacity or another. That's insane. I can't believe it's been that long. 2011 was when I first stepped out here, so it's weird. It's weird to be the old guy, but it's super cool. Like, rate, review, subscribe, do all of the things. If you're wondering why things look different, my hips are finally getting better, so I have a big old sit-stand desk area out here, and my chair is still popping in the camera because my dogs are pushing it around. Hey, pups. So I'm standing up while I do these because I sit down and do a 3-hour radio show, and I cannot sit all the time. Otherwise, it's going to drive me absolutely crazy. With that said, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Happy birthday. It's great getting older. Yikes, dog. I got a bunch of questions from you guys. Obviously, we had some major news as the Portland Trailblazers have agreed to 2 long-term extensions with 2 of their young players, 2 guys that I think they're very excited about going forward, which we will dive into the finances of it all and how it stacks up now and how they could look in the future, how they could outperform or underperform, or how they look at and completely devalue them as human beings, but just as basketball players and tools for basketball. So we asked me, how did I play on my birthday for golf? I shot an 89 out at Wildwood, which was my first time out there. So, gorgeous course. Shout out to everybody who lives on that side of town. If you're like St. John's, you're like 15, 20 minutes away. It's an hour and 15 minutes away from me in Newburgh. So, I'm a little jealous that I got Shaedon across the street, which is awesome. But Wildwood's gorgeous. Gorgeous course. Had a couple really good shots out there. Had some really bad shots out there. Blew up a couple holes. But still shot an 89. So, first time out there with where my game was to start this year. I'll get 2 thumbs up. And I got to play with the homies, Joe and Shane. So, great way to start my birthday. USC losing Notre Dame, not a great way to close my birthday. But plenty of you Duck fans will give me plenty of hell about that. So, we can do that on the radio show. But this is basketball. It is basketball through and through and through. It is great to be back. Obviously, we do have some news. I genuinely have not switched over to the season being here. When the news broke yesterday, I was actually golfing on Shaedon's contract, and that didn't see that. Saw twos, and when I've tried to unplug a little bit this year, I've kind of hinted at some stuff. It's just it's been a hell of a year for me, to be blunt, and I've been kind of prioritizing my mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, self, unplugging at times. So I did not see Shaedon's contract live. I talked to a couple people a few days previous that said there was a pretty good chance that there was a deal could happen. Did not hear that the money was going to move that much. I tweeted out, I actually deleted it because I was like, oh, the contract's already out. I heard that the most it would ever get up to was probably be $100 million. So I didn't know if Shaedon was going to take that deal. I think that's a good place to start. I believe twos was announced first, or they were announced like simultaneously, or a few minutes apart, or whatever. But I want to start with Shaedon's because Shaedon's is on the surface more interesting. Two's a all defensive player, a little bit older. You know what he is. He can certainly get better, and I think he will get better. But nobody's looking at Two's contract and going, "Oh, they overpaid," or "Oh, what if he does this," or "What if he does that?" Like, 2 right now is worth that money. Like, I think that's the difference. Is if 2 stays at his current pace with where he's at right now, his contract is justified. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Right? 20-ish million, less than 15% of the cap. I think it's like 14.89 or something like that. I was looking at it earlier, or my numbers might have been a little bit off. I don't know. I should probably have my spreadsheet up. Let's try this real quick. This is what I get for being a failure. But yeah, I take a look at this stuff and I go, okay, this is good. 2's deal, all right. But Shaedon's is a little more interesting. Like, go on, Bubba, go. You can't be whining right now. I'm trying to do the show. 2's deal is more interesting in the sense of, Shaedon's deal is more interesting in the sense of, that's, what do we got here kind of a deal. Sorry, my spreadsheet is completely getting weird on me. There we go. As I was saying, Shaedon Sharpe's deal is a little bit more interesting in the sense of the multi-year kind of run out and expectation. And a lot of this ties into where the NBA is at. I tweeted it out yesterday. I don't know. The days are all blending together for me. Holistically, and if you guys have followed the show for the last year and a half, 2 years, or heard me on the radio or on the postgame show, this thing that I was pretty certain was going to happen was that there was going to be a reckoning for players that are not max players in the NBA. How that was going to transpire, I wasn't exactly certain of. There was the idea, at least for me, that when you look at the landscape, there were far too many contracts that were being handed out to players who, albeit while very good, were not the kind of players that you were comfortable paying $35+ million to. The Zach LaVines, the Michael Porter Jr.'s of the world, who are, again, good players, but how much championship equity do they actually give you? Whether it's injuries or shortcomings in their game or difficulty to build around them because of said shortcomings or lack of positional versatility, all these different things. And again, I am not anti-player getting paid. I am talking about this purely from a basketball roster building component. There's no, this guy shouldn't get this because, like, look, get whatever you can get. I am never going to be mad at any player for getting the money that they can get and earn. What you earn is what you deserve. That's ultimately where I fall with this stuff. I am not against it in any way, shape, matter, or form. But I find Shaedon's contract really, really, really interesting. Really interesting. His average annual value is $22.5. Okay, he signed a 4-year, $90 million deal, right? So his cap hit is going to be roughly, again, this is going to be adjusted based on where the cap actually falls, under 13%. Under 13%. And $20 million for him is going to be 22.5. Like that number is about what you would expect for, I don't want to say replacement level because it's not replacement level, slightly above or above replacement level starter in the NBA. And if you're talking about Shaedon, I think the perception among Shaedon, particularly among Blazers fans, is that he's a star in the waiting if he just has his room and all these things that could come with that. I believe if the front office viewed him that way and there was leverage to point to that, you would have seen Shea get more than $490. That's not to say that he can't. That's not to say he can't be transcendent. His skills are incredible. He's one of the best rim finishing guards in the league. I believe he finished in the 81st percentile? Let me double check that. I believe he finished in the 81st percentile, if that's right. Last year among guards at the rim. And it's not just his dunks. His ability to take contact at the rim and finish through at layups and just around the rim truly is incredible. His athleticism, his explosion is otherworldly. And I really like Shaedon as a mid-range pull-up guy. Obviously, where the shortcoming falls is the three-point shooting. I'm sorry. It was 70. He finished 71% of the rim, which was the 92nd percentile at the rim. 71% is big man numbers. I mean, that's incredible. He also finished in the 75th percentile in long mid-range shots, 48th percentile in all mid-range shots. That free throw line pull-up, he's real good at. I have zero issue with him taking that shot. Analytics be damned. I think it's a very, very, very comfortable shot for him. But where the marks are, inefficient from three. He's gone down every single year, 37%, 34%, 31%. He's flashed some stuff here in the preseason where even if the shooting has been inconsistent, what he hasn't been inconsistent with is his aggression pulling up off the dribble from three. And I think that's a mentality change, and I'd rather see that than any kind of passivity. So if you're looking for a marker going up, there you go. There's a marker going up. I think he's a little bit more confident in his handle. When they played the Kings, one of my biggest criticisms of Shea offensively last year, like, kind of ties into that passivity, was that he would get a switch and you'd be like, just cook him, dude. Just cook him. I don't care what the play set is. Like, sometimes you just got to go. Like, when you have a mismatch where that guy has no chance in hell of staying with you, cook him. And he got the Domantas Sabonis on a switch. And he decided to kind of retreat dribble. And I'm like, don't you dare pass that ball. Don't you dare pass that ball. And he kind of locked in and kind of lulled him. Sabonis did a pretty good job of bodying him up. And Shaedon had to ultimately settle because the shot clock was going down to take a long mid-range pull-up. But just cashed it out. And I went, there. I don't care. Be aggressive. Aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. That's what I want to see from you. Like, you've got that ability. You've got that shot. You've got the ability to create the space. Go for it, right? But you've also seen in just the preseason and throughout his career where the consistency, not only in effort, but like just staying locked in wanes. And this is where people think I hate Shaedon. I don't hate Shaedon. I don't hate him at all. In fact, I think his talent is incredible, but it's the other stuff, the holistic stuff, the intangibles where I find him waning. And if you put the absolute psycho in that body and that skill set and the things that he can do, I think he can be truly special. People say, well, he's young. You're right. You're absolutely right. But go down the list of guys that didn't have that, didn't flash that stuff, that developed it. There's a lot of things in the NBA that I think, in talking to players, talking to coaches, talking to player development guys, front office, there's just stuff like you either have or you don't. Like as a playmaker, you can either really pass or you're just okay at it. Like Jan Hansen has feel. The dude can whip it around. He knows how to when to pass the guys, how to pass the guys, how to set guys up. Like it's this spatial awareness and this feel and tempo that you put on a pass that either you have or you don't. That's why you don't see a ton of tremendous passers in the NBA. Defensively, Toumani, it's not just effort. Sure, it is. There's effort and work ethic and being a dog. The dog in him per 36, it's like 12 pit bulls, in the X-ray for Toumani. But it's also skill. Saying it's just effort undersells the talent and the skill necessary to be a great defender. Now, effort can make you a better defender, but if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the skills, it doesn't matter. Effort can mask some things. It can be a cologne, it can be a perfume, whatever you want to call it, defensive potpourri. But if you don't have the skills, if you can't move your feet fast enough, your arms aren't long enough, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, you don't have the IQ to be able to cut something off fast enough or anticipate or body this guy out here or watch enough film to know what guys are going to try to do and when they're going to try to do it, it's all for naught, right? And with Shea, a lot of that stuff kind of just, you see flash here and then you see flash of what the hell were you doing, dog? And like that's the hard part for me. So where I want to give Shaedon credit on taking this deal is that, number one, there's a real fear of the RFA process. Take the money. I have talked to, I mentioned this on the radio, 6-7 different GMs over the last month and a half about the RFA process, and they've all said the same thing. Players don't have leverage. Unless you are a guy that is just an uncertified or a completely certified dude, uncertified, I'm an idiot. You have to be stamped. You just like Christian Brown just signed his deal. Dyson Daniels signed his deal. Christian Brown is a good player, but he's got championship equity, and the Nuggets need him. And I'm looking at that deal going, Christian Brown. It's a lot of Christian Brown. It's a lot of Christian Brown. I don't know if I'd be comfortable making that. But what other choice do they have in that sense? So, and I think the same thing was true with Keegan Murray with the Kings. Look, again, I want to see guys get paid. But if I'm looking at it holistically from a cap standpoint, I look at that deal and I go, hey, Kings, you've got Sabonis, you've got DeMar, you've got Levine, and it's like, now Keegan could find his three-point shooting again, and that could totally work for them. As it pertains to the Blazers, they signed Sharpe and Camara to deals that I think pretty much everybody would say is at minimum, a good deal, and both have potential to be very good deals. As I mentioned before, Toumani Camara, that $20 million being like kind of the starter level money in the NBA. I mean, yeah. And if Shaedon Sharpe is going to be special and plays above that at that slot, now you're cooking with gas. And this is where I give Shea the credit. He looked around the room. He saw what other guys did this offseason, talked with his agent, and goes, $490 sounds awful good, and it seems a lot better than playing on a qualifying offer, and heaven forbid I have the core injury pop up. Heaven forbid my shoulder doesn't work. I'll never forget talking to Sear Little after he signed his deal. Walk into the locker room, hey, now, congrats on the deal, man. I'd love to see that for you. He just lit up like a kid on Christmas. He goes, man, thanks. He goes, if you had told 18-year-old me that I could get $20 million, I'm good. I'm like, having that level of awareness is a good thing. I'm not saying settle. There's this fine balance, and everybody has to find their own kind of spot for them. But having that awareness and that understanding and looking at the market and going, the Nets can only have cap space so many times, right? Nobody has cap space. So this whole idea of like, we're going to use this team to leverage this deal doesn't exist, because in this market, in this space, under this current CBA, nobody has real space. And if they have real space, they're saving it for one of them ones. And if you have not been one of them ones that is stamped going into your contract year, that is a risky bet. Because as much as everybody say, well, what if Shaedon pops? That's easy for you to say. What if Shaedon doesn't? Now he goes from $490. Go ask Dennis Schroeder about turning down $84 million. Yeesh. Yeesh. Nasty work. Nasty, nasty work. That sucks for him. But if you're looking at Shaedon as an upside play, he has an opportunity to severely outplay this contract. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The devil on my shoulder is going, what if he gets his money and this is it? You can make an argument that, okay, the contract's okay. It's okay. Not great, not bad. It's okay. He's a starter. He's 22 years old. He can do stuff in the league that nobody else can do. On the plus side, if he figures it out, now you've got a guy who's, he's making half the money that a guy, let's say he turns into a 25 point a game guy on good efficiency. So for reference, Shaedon his rookie year, 55.4, his second year, 48, and last year, basically 52%. That's his effective field goal percentage. So that's 65th percentile, 15th percentile injuries, and then 48th percentile. So if you throw out the injury season, he's slightly above league average. And that's with him shooting 37% his rookie year from three. So if you squint, you can see it. But what about the other stuff? His playmaking has been, like, he's flashed a pass or two where I went, damn. But I've also seen complete blinders and a handle that can't get him where he needs to go. Defensively, his teammates so far in the preseason, I've talked to a lot of them. Hey, what's been different with Shea? How does he look? And it's like he's a lot more locked in. He seems to be understanding it. And that's the youth part of it, like figuring stuff out. That's where I want to make sure I give the grace to him. Not just him, but all young guys, right? So the engagement, Lester says, he seems a lot more engaged on defense at least when I was paying attention. Yeah, no, I think he has been. There was one game, the game that wasn't televised. They just had the in-arena feed. I know a lot of people are mad about that. It wasn't actually supposed to be a broadcast. They just took the in-arena feed because they were working on things. I thought Shaedon was dreadful in the first half, just floating through everything, settling for everything, not locked in. Pretty clear Chauncey kind of let him know at halftime, and he came out at halftime, and I think he rattled off 7 or 8 points, just boom. And I was like, there it is. And it's not just the box score stuff. It was how he went about it. Defensively, he tried to jump the gap and get a steal, but I wasn't mad because it wasn't a lazy, I'm going to lunge for this. It was like he anticipated and tried to make a play, and a guy just made a good pass. That's fine. When you watch the tape next day, you go, hey, Shea, nice try here, but hey, let's tighten this up a little bit. If you're going to make that read a step earlier. I'm cool with that. If you're going to make a play, make it, and you get burned, stuff happens. The Blazers have 3 guys, and Drew Holiday, Toumani Camara, and Matisse Thybulle, who are going to freelance defensively, and every now and then, they're going to get burned. They've earned that right because of the aggression, the mentality, the attitude, and their defensive skill set. Shea's athleticism should allow him to be more disruptive defensively. Like, that's just the thing. And if he's going to be a guy that is, historically has fallen asleep on ball and off ball, okay, let's up that. Let's be more aggressive. There's a couple different times where the Blazers were switching some things, and it looked like a veer switch, and Shea didn't make the right read. I think it was out there with Chris Murray and Drew Holiday. And he made it at 100%, and you could see Chris like, no, and Chris just said, screw it, I'm going to go here, you're going to go here. They tagged it, they get back to it, and they are able to reset. And it was like, oh, there you go. You made the mistake at 100%. You were able to recover and get to the right spot. Like, on the next day, again, on the film, you go, hey, you got to make sure we're on the same page here. That's doable. So these are all like the upside things of like, okay, there's that. But it's lock it. Lock it in. Lock in the all the things that you're capable of doing. More consistency. The box score stuff with Shaedon, because of his tools, because of his gifts, they will just appear. They will. When you've got those kind of things, that's what happens, man. It just is. Like, it's so dumb to say that, but it's the reality. When you've got otherworldly talents and skills, if you do the other stuff, you'll just find yourself in a position more frequently, more regularly. That's just how this game is. Because you look at a guy like Shaedon, who his athleticism stands out in a world where you have the best athletes. Do you know how athletic you have to be to do that? That's bonkers, man. This is like I'll make the comparison. It's not the same, but it's like Usain Bolt, like looking over his shoulder at other world-class sprinters. Like Shaedon's a vertical ability, an ability to rise up and finish at the rim. He can just look around at everybody else like, you can't jump with me, dog. Why are you trying? You know, like his strength, like Shaedon is strong. When he puts his shoulder down and gets to the rim, you don't see him bounce off guys. He's the one delivering a blow and getting to where he wants to get to. Those same skills and those same tools should also apply on the defensive end. Guys shouldn't be able to put their shoulder in him and get by him. He should be turning guys away, making them 45, making them reset, make them go on a retreat dribble. He should be a guy that gets in the passing lanes. He should be a guy that gets chased down blocks. And he damn sure should be a guy who grabs rebounds. That last one, that's what I've seen more of. He's been much more effective on the glass. And that's okay, there we go. That's the thing that I want to see. 490 for Shaedon Sharpe. Again, this was a very long rant on what I was about to say is, Shaedon had some awareness of what the landscape is and locked it in. And he can outplay that. And he can look back and say, man, I shouldn't have, but I'll still have 90 or 45 million when it's all said and done because of taxes. But his life is set. He is generational wealth on top of generational wealth on top of generational wealth. That's awesome for him. Toumani's contract, 482. Great job. Great job. Surprised he didn't get his max. It was 487, I think is what it was. Two maybe left a little bit on the table. I haven't seen anything as far as incentives are concerned that would get him to that point. Typically with those deals anyways, usually kind of get some things leaking out, or I get a phone call or a text or an email like, hey, this is also in there. But when it was announced in a way that hey, that's the most money. Two's deal, 4 years, no options. So at least that's what I've seen so far, unless somebody has something out there to correct that. That's what I'm operating under. 2 is 2, man. 52nd overall pick, gets $80 million. Kick-ass story. Love it. Absolutely awesome. I love 2. I love who he is as a person. I love who he is as a player. Talking to him over the years, he has become one of my favorite guys to talk to. Very honest. We've had him here on the show. We talked about him in his rookie year and his struggles and how he figured stuff out. I think that is a great, great path for Shaedon to follow. You get a little humbled. We still don't know who's going to start going into opening night. It sounds like 2's healthy, practice full go. Him, Tease, and Rob Williams III were all full goes at practice. Who knows what that means for rotations and starting lineup because, everybody wasn't healthy during the preseason. We'll kind of figure that out as we go. For my money, I don't think Shea did quite enough to get the starting nod. We'll see. I would probably go 60-40 Jeremy Shea right now. I thought Shea had a real opportunity to do it, and I'm not sure he just grabbed it, seized it, took it, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he was bad, though. I think he showed some stuff, but I also think he had a couple halves of basketball where you went, that's the stuff we're kind of worried about, dog. And I'm not talking about the box score stuff. I don't care about preseason box score stuff. Unless it's Young Hansen and he's cooking dudes, and that's fun. Young guys doing stuff in the preseason is always fun. But Portland Trailblazers, their books, they have money on the books now. Okay? Coming into this year, the only guys that they had on the books, I should say before they made a couple of transactions, Jeremy, Denny, I believe those were the only 2. Yes. Jeremy and Denny, with the exception of the guys on rookie scale contracts in Scoot, Donovan, and Chris, were the only. I'm sorry, 2 was as well because his extension moved his last year out. So with the exception of guys on rookie scale contracts, Denny and Jeremy were the only guys who had money committed in 26-27. And Denny was the only hard contract at $11.875 million, which is hilarious. Were the only guys who had hard money on the books outside of rookie scale deals. Now the Blazers in 27-28, Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant will be in the final years of their deals, 37.2 and 36.4. Damian Lillard will be in the last year of his deal at 14.1. Scoot will be in his RFA season. We'll see what that gets to. Shaedon will be at 21.6. Donovan at 9.5. Hansen at 4.8. And Toumani Camara at 19.7. Your two highest paid players are Jeremy and Drew at 36 and 37. Nobody on the roster over $40 million. Now, you want to have a guy that is, worthy of that, but let's say Shea hits. Let's say Young Hansen shows quite a bit this year. Or not necessarily being the dude, but hey, he's on a path, right, to being a real player. Now, basically everyone on your roster is either, older and maybe on the old pay scales with Drew and Jeremy, but Drew's owed 20% of the cap, Jeremy 19.5. Everybody else at that point in time will be under 13%. Pretty good. That's how you get the books going for the long haul, right? And if anybody outperforms the contract, you're cooking with gas. You got to give Joe Cronin in the front office a hand. Like, full stop. I don't care what you think about who, what, when, where, why. Books look awful good when you look around the NBA. That's pretty damn good. Somebody asked about would Dundon have had any input on this. I don't know it for certain yet. I've reached out. Hopefully I'll hear back. I would be shocked if $160+ million went out the door and Tom Dundon wasn't talked to about it. So, or 170, excuse me. I would imagine an investment that sizable. Tom Dundon was talked to about that. Now, if you're signing guys to 1-year deals or something along minimum stuff like that, I don't think that. You probably make a phone call. But hey, we're all right. Cool. Bye. This deal, I'd imagine that the governors, as it were, in Burt Colt and Jody Allen probably had a conversation with Dundon, and that's kind of where things would go. Because, again, these are guys that will be there for him now. So, barring any change in the ownership landscape, which I have not heard that anything there is going other than as expected. So, great job. Little golf clap for Joe Cronin in the front office. I think that's a feather in your cap. Getting both those guys on what should be, at bare minimum, good deals. Both have the opportunity to be very good deals. Again, Toumani Camara's deal. Sorry, bud. Come here. There you go. They don't like it because I don't have my chair right here right now. Sorry, my camera tracking is being all kinds of goofy. There we go. Yeah, so that's where we sit with the contract stuff. I think this is a win for the Blazers, as it were, and the Trailblazers front office. Let's get to your guys' questions because we're half hour in right now. Kim asks, what about the Blazers preseason excited you the most? What has you most concerned? Well, come here. Oh. All right, got to hold puppies now. There we go. You good, bud? Yeah, there you go. Honestly, nothing concerned me. Nothing really had me the most excited. I would say the thing that I'm most excited for, in the sense of I'm not like, there wasn't a performance. I was like, ooh, Young Hansen hitting the threes and getting the crowd going. That was exciting, certainly. The offense being faster and getting into their sets a lot sooner. I thought that was interesting. I thought some of the small ball lineups were interesting. A lot of the stuff that we're going to be looking for and watching for, it's not 5 games, not 10 games. It's probably New Year's. That's a lot of what I'm looking for. Because a lot of what they're going to be doing, particularly offensively, is going to take some time to materialize, right? And so those are the things that I'm really looking for. I'm not going to make any judgments about anything in the first month, 2 months of the season. I want to see what stuff looks like come New Year's, and hopefully they've got some stuff figured out by then. Hey, all right, I'll put you down. There you go. Nothing had me concerned really because it's preseason basketball. Like, it's just to go out there and just kind of see what's going on. You know, what does this look like? I think I saw some good. I saw some bad. I saw some inconsistencies, but it's preseason. It's guys are ramping up. Like, take a guy like Denny. Denny basically shut it down for the entire month of September because he was playing Eurobasket, and he needed a little bit of a break, and he has to kind of ramp back up now. So I thought Denny looked rusty. Am I worried about Denny? No, I'm not. Now let's check back in New Year's. Shea saw some better stuff. Saw some of the same old stuff. Okay. Scoop being injured sucks. We'll see where he is in his rehab. Obviously, Tease didn't play. Rob didn't play. I thought Chris Murray defensively was nice. If he can shoot, I mean, that's the question with Chris. If Chris can shoot the ball, he's a plus-level role player in the NBA. 6'8", multi-positional, could defend his butt off. High IQ guy, high fuel guy, just kind of plug and play. Play him the 2, 3, or the 4. Those guys are valuable around the league, so want to see what we get with that. Caleb Love has been a basket of fun. CD Sissoko has flashed a couple things defensively and playmaking, which those are the two things he does. He's built like a truck, and he can sling the ball as a passer, and defensively he's kind of a jerk about it, and I like that. Donovan has had some moments of good, and boy, the offense is going to be rough. So yeah, that's the excited and most concerned side of things. I'm neither excited nor concerned about anything that I saw. I'm certainly excited about the season and all of the storylines. All of the media guys that have been covering the team for a while now. We've all been talking about how this season has the potential to have the most storylines we've seen in 5-6 years. That rules. Like, from a selfish standpoint of like things that I'm looking to watch and things that are going to be interesting, I'm very excited about that. The concerns aren't there yet. Like, you could say, well, the offense, like, well, duh. We know that the shooting is kind of a problem, right? Somebody's got to pop up and somebody's got to really show out as a shooter. It's going to open the floor up a little bit, and who that's going to be and how they're going to do it, we'll see. So nothing in the preseason has me excited or concerned from the on-court stand just yet. Jake asks, what stuff, air quotes, will you be paying close attention to opening night? Rotations, minutes distribution, closing lineups, pace of play? I think there are tons of interesting stuffs that could be happening. Yes, that goes back to kind of what I was saying about the storylines. Rotations, certainly. Minutes distribution, we'll see how that goes. I think that'll kind of figure itself out. Closing lineups, I think that's something that Chauncey Billups, he's toyed with a ton. Pace of play, how aggressive they are defensively. They're definitely picking up at like 80-plus feet almost every damn possession. Love that. Chauncey Billups was asked about that in a post game about how teams are starting to mimic the Trailblazers in that regard. You're just seeing teams go younger, longer, stronger, more athletic. And so, yeah, that's certainly going to be interesting. For me, this is my thing. I want to see how the offense evolves because they have all these rules and principles of like how they want to go about it. So for those that don't know, it's going to be a more egalitarian, free-flowing, random, air quotes, offense of, less static. At least that's the idea. Less static motion, less standing in the corners. You do still have to have proper floor spacing, which is kind of a balance that you have to find. Every now and then, you're going to have your big man, whether it be Young or Donovan Clingan in the corners, which is not great because neither of those guys are great at changing ends of the floor. But it's going to happen. Saw Young knock down a corner 3. Donovan, I think, is only taking them from above the break. I'm just trying to go off memory right now. I don't think he's taking a corner 1. But I know those guys have found themselves in those corners a couple different times. I'm like, ooh, he's got to bust back 90-plus feet to get to the rim. That's going to be, and transition. Oh, that was over. So, like, trying to work those things out. Those are the stuffs that I'm really trying to watch. Defensively, how aggressive they are, when they're aggressive, who's aggressive, how many different schemes and sets they kind of go through. Defensively, Nate Bjorken is a defensive coordinator, so to speak, on that end. And then you have St. Andrews and Tiago Splitter on the offensive side. I'm very interested to spend some time with Tiago and Saint and James Posey, trying to kind of get to know those guys, understand how their brains work, what they're looking for. Get to pick their basketball brains. Those guys forget about more about basketball in a day than I know in my life. So those are the kind of things I'm looking at. El Gallo Guerrero, back in the Spanish Armada days. Shout out Sergio and Rudy. I told people we should try to bring as many Spanish players here as we could. Is Portland the most international team currently? And what do you think that trend bodes well for the Blazers' future, considering potential future starting lineups? Oh, God. Is the Blazers? I think they have players from 9 different countries. Let's go. Tease, Australia. South Sudan / Australia for WAP. Ryan is French. CD is French. Why am I not? Batou is Belgian. Young is China, so that's 5. Let's see. Let me go through the roster real quick. Denny is Israeli, 6. So what is it? 7 or 8 international players with 6, 7 countries? Because CD and Ryan are both French. Because DA was Bahamas. So DA's gone. Yeah, so yeah, they're definitely one of the more international teams in the league. For sure. Oh, Shaedon, Canada. Thank you. God. Canada doesn't feel like another country. Just to be honest. It is. I spent a bunch of time there when I was in North Dakota, so it's always felt so normal to me. So, yeah, 7. They're a very international team, and that, I mean, Mike Schmidt's cut his teeth as an international scout, guys. That shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. That just shows you the growth of the game, honestly. You look around the league, and SGA's Canadian, Lou Dort. I mean, there's just international dudes on basically all the top teams. You got Pascal Siakam, Benedict Mathurin in Indiana. Just kind of going off the top of my head here. Wemby. I mean, the best players in the world right now are almost all international. All of them. Luka, Giannis, Shea, Jokic, Wemby. It's the international part of the game. It's growing so huge and totally different tangent. Team USA probably won't be favored at the 2028 Olympics in LA. I keep telling everybody I think France is going to be the favorite coming into that. We'll see where it goes though. But yeah, no, I think that trend does bode well. You want the best players from around the world playing in the best league. Rules. DJ Wilson asks, what matchup is going to have the most smacked up and chirping this season? I want to see some good competitive plays and getting under their opponent's skin. Well, if you believe it, the reports out of practice, the most competitive might be between Donovan Clingan and Young Hansen. Apparently, those that's two bulls in a china shop going at each other. I loved hearing that, by the way. Donovan sees another young bull in the another young dog in the room, and doesn't want to share his food. Good. Donovan's a red ass. Young, red ass. I hope those guys go at each other's necks. Don't hurt each other. Go at each other's necks and make each other better. I'll use this same stupid analogy that I use every single time. It's the Joker clip. Break the pool cue, throw it down, sort it out. This is the pros. Figure it out. But if you want to talk about who's going to get chippy and chirpy, I mean, it's always Dylan Brooks is going to be on that list. And more often than not, he's going to come up on the wrong side because he runs his mouth far too much. Great defender, but my God, man. And then KD also. KD loves the chirp guys. That's always fun. I want to see more red ass stuff in the NBA. I want to see more guys getting into it. I want to see more guys arguing and tying each other up and really going at it. That's where I want to be. Looking at the guard rotation, we're already going out 26-27 of Dame, Drew, Shaedon, Scoot. Someone's going to need to get moved by next summer, right? That guard rotation would just be untenable. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That's where I'm at with that. It was the same thing, I asked Joe Cronin when they drafted Scoot Henderson. You have Shaedon, Ant, Dame, and Scoot. There's 90-plus minutes and 4 guys. How's that going to work? Obviously, it didn't. So, but it's a bridge we'll have to cross too. And if Scoot gets healthy and goes out there and balls out, and Shaedon goes out there and balls out, maybe you go, hey, Drew, thank you for your time. And I'm sure there'd be no shortage of teams that would be like, hey, we'd really like to have this guy. Maybe Dame takes a back seat. I don't know. I don't think he does. I know his mentality and where he's at. He thinks 100% he's going to come back and be the same guy that he was. And I will believe him until he shows otherwise. So you will sort that out in one way or the other. Saka, which Blazers player are going to have the best year? I tend to believe it's Denny. The slow start in the preseason coming off the rest, notwithstanding, I think he's a guy, currently, for me, he's the only guy on the roster who can be an all-star this year. And that's still even a stretch. Making an all-star in the West, especially as a wing, is crazy. But Denny, for me, is a guy who, if you told me he averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, I think he could. In fact, I think he could be a 22, 7, 4.5 guy. Which, when you factor in the fact that he's 6'9", 250 pounds, there's like 7 of those guys in the entire league that are 20-plus boards, 7-plus rebounds, 4-plus assists with that size. It's just those are they're all all-stars or all NBA. You start talking about LeBron, you start talking about Luka, you start talking about Giannis. Like, he would be the bottom of that rung, but that's a really, 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 really good player. Really good player. and the 3-point shooting is here to stay, then he can be an absolute baller. Nick Kohler asked, my question, after watching Young in preseason, do you think Young or Shaedon has a higher ceiling? I'm going to stick with Shaedon right now, but from a feel basketball IQ standpoint, Young has the higher feel IQ profile. And if that stuff continues to grow, I mentioned on the radio today, there's a evaluator in the NBA that I trust very much that I was talking to after Young had that 12-point third quarter, and he was gushing over Hansen. And he doesn't normally do that. And I was like, man, you really he goes, man, if he's that guy, if that talent is there and that's something he can tie into night in, night out. He's not talking about 12 points in a quarter, but the stuff he was showing. If he's 7-1 and he can shoot threes, if he can really pass like that, if he's really that physical and his post footwork and his touch is that good, brother. And the name that the guys that I've talked to that have all kind of tossed around, for Hansen is Marc Gasol. And Marc Gasol does not get the love that he should get. If Young ends up being some version of Marc Gasol, that is a hell of a player. Hell of a player. But Shaedon right now has demonstrated significantly more at this point in time. So it's far too early to put Young ahead of Shaedon. But it's fun. It's fun. If, and it's a big if, elements of our development work in our favor, what's the best outcome of this team by season's end? If we're talking record or playoffs, probably, I'm gonna say something spicy here. Probably the 8th seed. That's best possible outcome. And that's with the teams like the Kings, Suns, Pelicans, Jazz just being complete dog water. The Grizzlies not being good. The Blazers being a little bit better than people thought. And maybe another team getting injured and the Blazers go from a 9-10 team to an 8-9 team. Get in the front, the front end of the play-in. Because I think the Spurs are going to be pretty damn good because I think Wemby is going to put his name into MVP tracking this year. I don't know if y'all have watched him so far in the preseason. Buddy, if the Mavs are healthy, Cooper Flagg is going to vie for an all-defensive spot as a rookie. The offense will kind of come around, but defensively, he is a monster. I just take a look around the West. There's always a team that falls short. There's always a team that jumps up. I think 8's probably the highest this team could get. I think more realistically, looking at 9-10. I have not hit the full-on, they have to be a play-in team. I think you have to look around the rest of the league and see how things shake out. Is there a team in Indiana during the regular season that really pops in the West? I don't know if I see it with anybody else yet. But that's the fun part. They have to play the games, right? We didn't really answer this question, but we kind of talked around it. Shelby asks, does Cronin being able to make these moves increase new ownership's confidence in him? It ain't going to decrease it. You get 2 good players in Sharpe and Camara at good deals. I mean, you got to feel better about that for sure, right? That's ultimately where I fall with it. Especially when you look at what Dyson got, you look at what Keegan Murray got, you look at what Christian Brown got, you look at the guys that ended up signing, Tari Eason didn't sign his deal with the Rockets, which I thought was a little interesting. Maybe the number was a little bit lower for him. Maybe it was like a 4-year 70 kind of a deal, which I love Tari. I think Tari would be perfect in Portland. If you're going to add one more guy of the wing variety, it's a complete psychopath. Tari would be very high on this list. Nick Carter asks, what will we know or not know through the first 10 games about this team? I'll throw my hands up on that one. I need more than 10. I mean, don't be wrong. I'll make some evaluations, but nothing can be set in stone. I'm not going to kind of ride with anything, so to speak. Oh, man. Cotton mouth. We'll see where it goes, right? My prediction about this team is that they'd have roughly the same record, but they wouldn't just be complete dog water in the first half of the season. So that's kind of what I want to see. Is can you show up every night and execute? And that doesn't necessarily mean all of the wins and none of the losses or anything along those lines. It's a baseline level of execution. The thing Chauncey Billups has told me is when teams come in a Moda Center on a road trip or whatever, I mean, obviously they're on a road trip because they're not playing home. They want teams to look at the schedule and go, crap, we got to play these guys. And if they establish that identity in the first 10 games, awesome. I usually go 25 games before I make any, a little bit more than a quarter of the season. Give me 25 games and you kind of know what a team is or isn't based on injuries. Knocking on the wood. It's okay, guys. I shouldn't have done that. It's okay, guys. Shh. It's okay. It's okay. Now I have to try to calm them down. All right, let's try that again. Sorry about that, guys. I should have known better. I should have known better than that. I'm a dummy. But yeah, no, I think that's kind of where we are with that right now. Now my camera's going to be all fuzzy because I moved. Great stuff with technology here. There we go. This is an interesting question I saw pop up, and I wasn't sure how I was going to answer it. David Paul asks, I remember the Crab and Turner contracts being atrocious, but they were 70 to 75 million. How do the Sharpe and Toumani contracts compare? It's percentage of cap. That's the difference. Those guys are operating in a $100 million cap area. It's that cap's double that now. It's a lot more money now. So yeah, it's the 27-28. It's 174.3 and then 183. So yeah, I think that's the big deal there is when you look at that part of it, you go, oh right, yeah. I don't think these contracts are nearly as crippling. There. Jake asks, what tangible things can we, the fans, look at to gauge Chauncey's growth as a coach? I feel like he's bad at challenges. Like he challenges the wrong things at times instead of when you can remove the points. That's only a gut feeling with no data behind it. Love CB. Love him as a dude. I would say he has 100% disapproval rating with challenges in the media section in the first half. I think pretty much everybody up there is in agreement not to challenge anything in the first half unless it is a massive, like somebody picking up a fourth foul and it's very clear that it wasn't a foul. It's going to save like 4 points, something along those lines. They have how the way they go about it and those kind of things, but I think he's a coach who chooses to ride for his players, and that's how he does it. Now, is there something that can be gained there? Certainly, I think there is. Do I think it's something that's ultimately that detrimental? No, but it has bit them. So you can make a case for that. That's totally fair and totally out there. Chauncey's growth as a coach, I think you caught it in media day. This isn't to besmirch anybody, and Chauncey was very clear about that. He wasn't talking sideways or talking bad about coaches, but he said with the changes in the coaching staff, we had this is going to be summarizing what Chauncey said was some version of, look, when I kind of fully took over and we had this new era, we had to learn basic arithmetic. We had to go back to the basics, and now we needed coaches to come in to teach these guys algebra. And I think that is Chauncey's growth as a coach, understanding where his team is at, what he was working with, and what he has now. I think the defensive stuff really showed that they can be, and I expect them to be a top 8 unit defensively with what they have and how they can operate. But now it's like, all right, let's take a look at the offense. Let's make sure that not every game is first to 90. I do believe most games for the Blazers this year are first to 100. Like that's the reality. I don't think they're going to have this otherworldly offense. If they finish with a top 15 offense, it'll be pretty surprising if I'm being honest. But if you can finish 17th in offense, 6th in defense, pretty good team. Probably looking right around 500. That pretty good team. If you finish inside the top 20 offensively, say you 18th, 19th, 20. If you're 21 or higher, I'm kind of going, all right, fine. And you're probably where you're anywhere between 36 and 41 wins. But if you're looking for that higher ceiling, yeah, that's ultimately where I follow stuff. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. We're just short of an hour. I appreciate you guys all being here. Like, rate, view, subscribe, all of the things. I will be doing these a little more frequently, as I mentioned, or I tweeted it out and put it all over socials. Joe Simons and I are back. We are doing Rip City Wrap-Up. We are not, obviously, we didn't do any of the preseason games. We are not going live until opening night. I will be at Moda doing some stuff for K2 before the game. I'll be in the arena, and then Joe and I will have the post-game show. Tyree will join us for a little bit. I've got some really cool, exciting things, hopefully, that we can execute on Rip City Wrap-Up the season. Got some more stuff coming, hopefully, with some other sides of these things. And once I know or don't know those things, I'll let you guys know or not know. Other than that, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. You all have a wonderful, wonderful night. I got to go watch a little bit more football, and I got to do a few more meetings. It's a meeting-filled day. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for riding with me. Sorry I wasn't around this summer. Just had to take some time for myself, and now we're going to kind of get in the swing of things, and you'll have a gross amount of content coming up. So I've got Shaedon's profile. I was going to push it before the preseason. I wanted to make a few changes to it, particularly after the contract, and then kind of expectations, the challenges and opportunities for Shaedon. Then I've got a couple more on Donovan, Young, and two. So those will all be out over the next couple of days as we get into the season. Patreon.com/Jacked Ramsays. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.